Hello, I'm Tony King. I'm a photographer and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe for more content just like this and way different about photography. What is this content about? I got my whole thing out of order here apparently, but today we are going to be doing a monthly review of my photography in order to kind of learn where I did well, where I need to improve, and kind of how a general month in photography for me went. I'd go on photo walks and post photo albums from those, and in the month of June I posted 5, which is a small amount for me. I think like overall this year I've been doing pretty well. I try to do 4 minimum. I did 4 in January, which I was very upset with myself, especially because I did those in a very concentrated period of time, and that's kind of how it ended up in June for me as well. But it was so hot, and sometimes that's a good excuse, but other times it's like, come on, dude, just go, put on some sunscreen, short sleeves, and go out there. So I should have done that a little bit more in the month of June. Still got 5 photo albums out there and some decent work that I'm going to go share and analyze here. And starting out with this image, which I took, I think it was Greenville, South Carolina or something. I was driving to a wedding and we stopped for lunch in this little town and then went for a little walk through it. And here I'm shooting through kind of like barriers for people, like there was a fair the day before or the next day or a festival type thing. So I'm kind of shooting through that, which is kind of what you see with these silver gray lines coming through the image. And then I really liked just the orange of these umbrellas that were closed in. It's like, it's an afternoon. Where is everybody? It was a little weird, but I really wish I had a human subject kind of in between those 2 orange umbrellas. That would have been nice. Maybe if I waited longer. I was with people, so I couldn't just like sit there for 45 minutes. And I also had like 2.5 hours of my drive to go, so I couldn't sit there for 45 minutes. But it was good to walk around, good to kind of be spontaneous and like take some time to actually get some stuff. Which usually I'm just like, like we'll just drive through, or I'm driving somewhere and I'm like, oh, that would be a really cool picture, and I don't stop, or I don't bring my camera. Like this was a good example of actually doing that. It could be a stronger image, but I like the feeling of kind of abandonment. Not like it doesn't look abandoned, but it kind of feels like abandoned, if that makes sense. But so there's a feeling there. Color quality is really nice, if you ask me. Could definitely be a stronger image though. Next is probably the image that kind of started me on 2:1 aspect ratios. If you are looking at the monthly reviews in chronological order, like there have been other 2:1 images in months before this, but that's because I went back and cropped them after I'd cropped this one. So originally I didn't crop this one, but I was like, this guy, there's like some sort of cinematic story going on here. And so there is. I saw this guy kind of standing up there on the phone. And I was like, ooh, those railings could be a really nice frame for that. So kind of like made sure it happened. And sometimes you got to do that. Be quick, kind of move around people to like get the shot. And I got it. I got a few different takes and this was the best one. Cropping it down 2:1. He's on the phone. This could be in a movie like he's being watched, or like he's he's on some sort of serious call and we're hearing him, and it could be anything. Like he could be looking for somebody, he could be telling somebody he's looking for them. It's interesting, and I really like on the left side, everything kind of blurs out of focus and the leading lines of the building kind of create speed on the staircase as they like cut across, and it kind of looks like there's movement going on. Could be people, could be just like you're in a rush, you're in a hurry. You don't really get that on the right hand side of the frame. I wish there was a way that I got that more, but I like how the left side kind of leads to the center, how the guy's pretty much perfectly framed in the railings of the staircase. Maybe I wish you don't see the Falls Park Drive or whatever in the background, but I don't think it's necessarily a big detriment to the image. It feels like you're in a city next to a park, which is the truth. And overall, really like that there's a big story being told here. This image is important to me because it did get me started on like the 2:1 aspect ratio, which is a good alternative for me to amplify some of my images. Sticking on that 2:1 aspect ratio, if you watched my video, The Story Within Aspect Ratios, you'll see some of these images already. This is a cicada in like Asheville or Wrightsville, Weaverville, North Carolina is where we were. That's where we were. Very confidently saying that. I really like the colors on the cicada. I like how it goes from bright to on the left to dark on the right. There's a story there. It's like, where am I going? Like, what is in store for me? And just, I do think it's an impressive shot of a bug insect of the cicada, like its eyeballs and its little hands that are gripping so strongly on the wood kind of as like little hooks. Here's another shot that to me, there's a lot of movement here with the shapes of the outer swirly, like kind of bokeh of the foreground objects, but also in the background, like those are bricks, but it almost kind of looks like a long exposure shot, maybe of something moving. And because things are like in different levels of out of focus in the foreground and background and in the midground, it kind of looks like there's a lot of movement, a lot of wind. And then you have these, you know, several flowers, I guess they are flowers, kind of sticking out and in focus, having their moment to shine amongst all this chaos. The green is very, very vibrant. The background is not too dark, but dark enough that the subjects stick out. I like the direction and feeling and movement in this image more than anything. Next up, still from that same trip, this butterfly. I was actually able to get this on a 50mm lens, f/0.95 TT Artisan. I've reviewed it before, my go-to everyday 50. So I was really surprised that I was able to get it this in focus from, and like this scale. It is slightly cropped in, but not that much. Very, very fun, like very proud of the technical aspect of the image. Good focus. I kind of wish the leaves around the butterfly were more out of focus so that it's like more central on him. I have an image of 2 dragonflies. It's also 2:1 aspect ratio. And what I really like from that image is how messy the rest of it is to kind of draw your eye to the dragonflies. I kind of wish this image had more of it, even though it's like nice to see like on the flower. But yeah, I think there's like a little bit of a short wow factor that kind of dissipates the more you look at it, but it's still a strong image. It could be better. Next up, second to last, is this portrait I took of my wife, which I'm super happy with. This is a fully color image, pretty much how it came out of camera. I just added some vibrant. The rest of it is fully color. You can see a bit of color in the background bokeh, but I say that because it kind of looks black and white if you don't really look at it very long. We got this huge purple lens flare bottom right corner, which is a great like leading line from the super bright upper left corner, like where my wife's hand kind of disappears into the sun, and her hair like seeming so vibrantly red, almost it's like brown red as the light's hitting it is super nice. And you know, the profile of her face very visible as well. Super happy with how this image turned out. It's very like suggestive to like a dance passion. Very beautiful, a lot of direction in the background bokeh that kind of like really centralizes her as a subject. So took us several takes of this. This was the best one. Took me a minute to get it. That's what you got to do. You got to kind of practice and kind of like, hey, there's a good shot here. Like, let me like take a second to really try and get the best one that I can get. That's the story behind this shot, which I really, really like. Good portrait of my wife. Thank you to her for posing for me. Last image is this image of ducks on water. Somebody said it looks like they're floating. Well, they are floating on water. You can see their reflections, and that's like the only amount of contrast you get in the image. For whatever reason, when I took this image, my camera was on the wrong setting, and so everything I was taking was coming out the screen looked fine, but when I took the picture, it came out super overexposed, and I didn't notice until a little while. And then I was like, hey, but that's kind of cool. I don't like the water when you can see all the little ripples. I was like, might as well just overexpose all the water so you don't see all the little ripples, because that's all I was getting. You couldn't even tell that there was any ducks there. Kind of did that once I kind of realized what was happening with my images. I was like, let's get this. They were kind of all in a little group, and then one kind of straggling behind. I think there's a nice shape to how they're placed in the image, like with 4, 2, and then 1. They're like in this little group, like little groups, but also in one big group, just on this very white, overexposed water background. I think is somewhat unique. It like really makes you like look at the shape of the image and the animals. I think it's a very cool image. Let me know what you guys think about it. And that's the last image I'm going to share from the month of June. Again, I wish I went out more. Probably should have. I think the work I got was pretty good. So clearly I was like in the mood for it. So maybe if I had taken more time, I would have gotten even better stuff and a higher quantity of high quality stuff, which is always the goal as a photographer and as somebody building a portfolio and a body of work. So with that being said, that is this month. Solid month. Can't really complain. Let me know what you guys thought, and thanks for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I make all sorts of photography content, a lot of these monthly reviews of late, and I've been Tony King. Thanks for watching.